Hello and welcome to Mumblecast, the oddly structured, poorly researched podcast extravaganza. My name is Liam, and as always, I'm here with my co-host Kayla.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Good.
How is your week been?
What have I done this week? It's been good. I have been at the school doing a after-school program and coaching and watching this new show that I will talk about later.
So that's what you've been doing for the whole week, watching this new show?
No, I haven't done it that much. I did it last week when I was sick for a day. That's pretty much it.
Okay, that's alright. You like to watch TV when you're sick?
Yeah.
Was it Netflix?
Yeah.
We'll get to it later.
Okay. What about you?
Not really doing too much. I was in town this weekend, wasn't I? So I worked out a lot, and I bought a new TV, which I'm very happy with.
It actually came in the mail?
Well, so the original one I bought...
Yeah.
So listen, I bought a TV off Walmart like 3 weeks ago, and it was meant to come like on a Thursday, like 4 days after I purchased it. Then I went down to the shop and like I was trying to figure out how to sort it out, and it wasn't accepting my order. And then I got an email while I was there saying, "Oh, it's not here." I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I was just waiting. I said, "We'll email you when it comes." And I was waiting, and then like a week ago, I got another email saying, "Oh, we refunded you because you didn't come pick it up." I was like, "No, duh." Okay, I don't mind you refunding me if you don't have it in stock, but don't blame me for not coming to pick it up because I turned up and it wasn't there. So I was a bit annoyed.
We even checked Fredericksburg.
We
even checked Fredericksburg,
exactly.
but it wasn't
we
there.
Checked multiple Walmarts. So then I had to buy another one, which was similar, slightly more expensive. I think it's like the 2018 version of that 2017 model that I bought or whatever. But it wasn't too much more expensive. So okay, that'll do. I'll buy that. And
How big is it?
It's 40 inch. So it's not... It's weird because TVs start at basically 40 inch nowadays.
Yeah.
It's weird. I was in Walmart and I was like, "Oh, the smallest one we've got is 40 inch. I was like, "What?" I was like, "We have like a 20 inch. I was like, "Oh, nah." And we have like 132 inch. I was like, "Okay, how much is that?" Well, it's the same price pretty much because nobody buys them anymore, so they're more expensive. I was like, "Oh, well, yeah, okay, I'll go for the 40 inch." And that's all I need.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. That's all I need. I'm trying to get the sound right, guys, so if it's going up and down a little bit at the beginning, that's just because I'm trying to figure out the correct position I need to be in the volume of the mics and stuff. Because you probably had, because you're all listening a lot. I had issues last week.
Not too bad.
Anyway,
but yes.
Yeah, so I got a new TV. That's nice. I set up yesterday and I fell asleep on bed, fully clothed, lights on, TV on. I was like, "Oh God, I'm back to this again." So I must have been very tired. But other than that, I've been fine.
All right.
I don't know why I went on that wee tangent. In that case,
Let's get ready to mumble.
So, something else that I kind of looked into. This wasn't this weekend. This was kind of like last weekend, the weekend beforehand. E3 2019 happened. Are you familiar with what E3 is?
No.
Alright, so E3 is the Electronic Entertainment Expo.
I was going to guess something with entertainment.
Good, because you'd be right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was basically it's the big trade show type thing that happens once a year, typically in the US, and it's like where they place all the biggest and baddest software, hardware companies come together to showcase their new or coming products.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have the software companies like Square Enix and Epic Games and Blizzard. You know, the companies. So Square Enix does like the Final Fantasies.
Okay.
Epic Games does Fortnite.
Okay.
Blizzard does World of Warcraft. So all like the big online games, even small ones will come out.
Yeah.
And then you have people like Sony and Microsoft come out and speak about the PlayStation or the Xbox. Mm-hmm. And everyone shows off their new big ideas and try and flex on each other, like, "Oh, well, we've got this coming, this coming." Mm-hmm. And so within the game community, it's kind of a big deal, and people like media and kids and influencers from all around the world go and get all this information, play a bunch of games for a week, essentially. And they get to play and see all the new up-and-coming games and products and what to expect from their favourite places. So you have all the fanboys and girls out there saying, "Oh, I can't wait for the new this or new that," and everyone gets dead excited. Mm-hmm. And this year there was no... Why am I out of breath? Whew. Weird. Now my heart rate's going up. You should tell Drake. Anyway,
Breathe.
there is... So everyone's there and expecting something new, and there was some big announcements this year. Some of the biggest ones were Square Enix, who I said were one of the a really well thought upon company for the most part. They are doing the new Avengers game. So
that got a lot of shit.
Pardon? Well, it's weird because so the old Avengers game, Avengers Alliance, I think it was called. I played that with my friends. It was great. You could play literally like any Marvel character, and you don't have like developing skills that you could unlock, and it was great. People loved it, but it was really repetitive. It was just walk into a place, kill a bunch of guys, level up. It wasn't really that. It was highly like the players loved it. Critics thought it was fine, but it wasn't that technical. But Square Enix, who are pretty good, were renowned for making high ability, well written games. Anyway, the reason it got kind of poo-pooed is because the characters aren't based on they don't have the likeness to.
They look like knockoff versions of the
exactly. They look
of
like
the Avengers.
They look like the poor man's Avengers.
Yeah,
but you can't because you'd have to pay license for the faces, so they don't. So they've created new characters, and the comics can get away with it slightly better because I don't know they can just get away with that somehow, but for this game they can't, so.
But even like the Lego version of the Avengers looked more real than this.
Well, that's because it's so far from, because this is photorealistic new enough.
Yeah.
And I think they also probably want it to be different, so it's not going to be in the same universe. If you drew Robert Downey Jr.,
True.
People will be like, oh, but it's not canon, this and that, and I think it just gives them a bit more freedom to do something else.
Okay, fair enough.
I would have thought. And you don't have to get the facial license for everybody, because there's a big thing about that now. Because after, I'm already spinning off topic. So Back to the Future 1, had an actor. What was it? Basically, Marty McFly's dad. Can't remember his name.
Okay.
He's the guy that also plays that really weird character in Casino Royale, the bad guy in that. I think I might be totally wrong there, but anyway. He's a slightly odd character. Can't remember his name, and it really bugged me. And he didn't want to come back for number 2, but they used his likeness and his face in characters, and that built up a lot of lawsuits because he didn't give them permission to use his face. But they did, but they didn't use him as an actor. So where's the law here? And then they created precedents for you can't use actors' likeness and things, and without their right of it in contract and stuff, even if not, don't use them directly.
That'd be like their pictures and stuff?
Yeah, so pictures you may get away with, or you might get like a little bit more approval, but essentially they had a character that was speaking and talking and acting that wasn't him, but they reconstructed his face essentially to look like him.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit more, there was more, he had more leverage to say like, no, Crispin Glover. That's who I was thinking of. Anyway. Yes, so.
That makes sense.
So that's what happened to
Avengers.
Avengers.
They don't want them to get mad, basically.
That's what happened. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
The new Final Fantasy VII, a re-release of that, reconstruction of that. Well, that's one of the big games from the PlayStation era, the original sort of PlayStation. So that's getting remade, which is a big thing for a lot of fans. They've been wanting that for years. What else happened? George R.R. Martin, he is doing a collab with some of the creators of a game, particularly famous for a game called Dark Souls. Have you ever played Dark Souls ahead of it?
No.
So it's an intrinsically difficult game. It's like a third-person fight 'em RPG type role-playing game. It's very difficult, but they're collaborating with him to create a game with both of those things, and that's a really popular game. So his influence should be quite liked amongst fans and geeks alike. Nerds. Okay.
Is this where the information about the new Hunger Games prequels came out at?
Probably not.
No.
I wouldn't have thought so. This isn't usually what that would come out at.
Okay.
Maybe, but
I tried.
Unlikely. Yeah, no, it may have done, but
okay.
I can't see why they would be at this.
I don't know. I just heard it this week, so I was like, "Hey, they're one and the same."
The last big thing, I guess, is Xbox announced Project Scarlet, which is their new console for the next generation, and that's talking about hard console because there's a lot of chat about not upgrading consoles and not having new consoles, but having online server type stuff. But they've actually introduced the console, so that was another big thing. Anyway, so it's one of the big things, and some I've not actually mentioned yet, is what's commonplace for E3 is for the very last kind of display or conference throughout the whole expo is to be Nintendo. So Nintendo tend to close it off, and it's usually a big show and it excites fans of all their sort of IP, all their sort of characters, and doing this or that. And some of their big announcements was they're introducing a game called Witcher 3 to the Switch, which is a port from a PC and PlayStation, Xbox game. And Witcher 3 is highly thought upon and is both in the gaming world and by critics likes. It's a really expansive game, so everyone's quite curious to see how it's going to be on the Switch. So that's quite interesting because Switch obviously being a portable, small device. Mm-hmm. And what else did they announce? A couple of characters for Super Smash Bros., which is another one of their popular releases. And
New characters? New characters?
Well, new playable fighters, like Banjo-Kazooie, basically. Banjo and Kazooie from that game is going to be fighters, so they announced that and a couple others. And a sequel to Breath of the Wild. Do you ever play that? So that was their Zelda release on the Wii. Or the Wii U. I think it was the Wii.
I did play Zelda on the Wii, but I thought it was the Triforce. We had to hold the sword up.
Maybe it was from the Switch. No, the Switch didn't have Breath of the Wild, did it?
I mean, Drake played a new Zelda recently. I think.
Try to look what you've got over there.
I don't know.
It's basically Breath of the Wild was one of the last Zelda games that was big.
Okay.
I think it was a big main Zelda release, and that's the one. So I think it's that one.
Yeah,
That was like
probably
the
that one.
stylized cartoon, and they're riding on a horse and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
So it's like a sequel to that, basically.
Yeah, I haven't played Zelda since the Triforce, and we had to go.
When was the Triforce?
I don't know.
Which Nintendo console is it? Because there's been a lot of Zelda.
I don't know. I'll figure it out. Hold on.
Like I don't know. I'm not. You know what? I'm not a big fan of Zelda. Anyway, so this had me thinking. So it's quite interesting. Like Nintendo gets to close off this big conference expo, or they do it, and I was kind of brought to me thinking, how did Nintendo get so big? You know, it's they're not someone you think, okay, yeah, of course you're there, or they are, but why? Because if you think about who they're fighting against Sony. You know, one of the biggest electronic companies in the world, from one of the most advanced electronically countries in the world, Japan. And then you've got Microsoft, who are probably the biggest software developer, like one of the biggest software developers in the world ever. You know, when it comes to like PCs and Windows and all that sort of stuff. So it had me thinking, how did they get so big?
Okay.
So then I decided, I think it'd be quite a good topic for us to look into Nintendo.
Yeah.
And I've written a wee line here. It says, and I was wondering how they got so big in the world of the media entertainment world. And it comes from a couple of good decisions, a little luck, and you could say an ace up their sleeves, which will make sense if you've already looked into it.
I haven't.
Okay, cool. We'll discuss it in a minute. I'm getting out of breath.
Skyward Sword and Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of Time's Nintendo SNES, isn't that? Or is it N64?
I played it on Wii U. Or Wii. It was just the Wii.
Oh, so it'd
It
been
was like 2011 was when it came
so
out.
it'd been re-released on the Wii. Okay. I've never
Skyward
played any
Sword.
Link, any Zelda, so
Where you had to hold the sword up. And he flew on this bird everywhere.
yeah, no
I
idea
played
what
a
you're talking about.
lot of Zelda.
So if I will say to you, when was Nintendo founded? What would you guess? Unless you have the facts. You have the facts. I can tell by your smirk.
I would say September 23rd, 1889.
Well, you'd be right. And just to
Man.
repeat that, guys, that's 1980. No, so that's 1889. So it was started in Kyoto, Japan. What was the guy's name? Can you pronounce it better than I can?
I don't remember his yes. Fusajiro Yamauchi.
Yamauchi, yeah. Yamauchi.
Fusahiro
Fusahiro Yamauchi. Yeah, I think Yamauchi is the name we need to remember because that will go far. But yeah, and it was known in Japan as Nintendo Kopai, I think. This was a company that designed and produced something called Hanafuda.
Hanafuda cards, right?
How do you say it?
It's got an F in it. Hanafuda?
Oh, I copied it wrong. I missed the type wrong. Hanafuda. That makes more sense.
Hanafuda.
I just read it wrong. What an idiot.
I can't believe this was in Kyoto and we didn't go see it.
So it produced the Hanafuda cards, which are essentially playing cards. The Hanafuda ones are specifically ones with really nice pictures of flowers or other sort of nature type things on them. At this time, cards were particularly kind of related to gambling and mahjong and various type of card games, which obviously is big in Japan. So Yamauchi started this company in 1889. It got very popular. His cards were really highly thought upon. They were hand-drawn initially. They got very popular, so then he had to hire some assistants to help him sort of mass produce them a little bit.
Was Mario one of his assistants?
Mario was not one of his assistants, unfortunately.
Are you sure?
I could you know what? I don't have the assistant's name, but
What
it
about
could have been.
Koopa?
Might have been Koopa.
Okay.
Cuba kind of comes up later on, but it's pronounced differently.
I don't know the pronunciation.
I think it's anyway, we'll come to him later on.
Okay.
So this is 1889. They've had someone else that's selling a lot of products, and it's gone really well for him. And throughout his time, this is Fushajiro. I apologize to any Japanese people. I'm going to butcher all the names. Thank you. Fushahiro. His time lead company was very successful. They sold a lot of cards, and his brand became very popular itself.
Okay.
In 1929, Fushajiro. So I said it wrong again.
Say Yamauchi.
Yamauchi retired from the company, and as tradition in Japan, he passed the company on to what would be his heir, his son. He didn't actually have a biological son, so he passed it on to his adopted son, Serikoi Yamauchi. Cool, nailed it. That's the first time. And he took over control. During Sekiro's reign, he made a couple of really important moves which really sort of influenced the rest of Nintendo's life. He, first of all, joined with another company to become the Yamauchi Nintendo & Co. This happened in 1993. I'm not sure what this other company specialised in, but it was just to kind of increase their card playing. It might be a manufacturer or something, I'm not 100% sure.
Maybe pizza. Why pizza? Because Pac-Man.
Pac-Man's not part of this. Pac-Man's Namcom, but that's okay. I like your thought process. That's fine. Okay.
Look, I'm trying.
So, and this is well before computers. This is still 1933, or at least playable computers. In addition to this, he also established a distribution company. They helped distribute the cards they were making, and the Marufuku Co. In 1947, and this would help them get to different shops around Japan a lot easier and give them a bit more links to different companies that were selling toys, for example, or gambling, whichever was. Unfortunately, Syracuse, a time at the top was not long lived, and actually in 1949 he suffered a stroke and died.
Oh no.
His predecessor was a bit of a contrasting figure in the Nintendo world, as in it was his 21-year-old grandson, Hiroshi Yamauchi. Thank you. God, that's so annoying. Hiroshi Yamauchi. Yeah, and he's pretty much been leading it for. Well, he's going to be doing it through all of what we talk about today. He was a really important figure.
Okay.
He came in at 21. He had been attending law school in Japan, but he dropped out to take over Nintendo at the time.
Man, that was a smart move.
Yeah, but due to his age being only 21, the lack of experience and his lack of experience in business, he wasn't very welcome within the company. A lot of the workers went on strike against him, and a lot of the sort of chairman or the people higher up were really reluctant to follow his lead. Obviously, I think Japan has that sort of respect thing going on. So I don't know how exactly it works, but so he ended up having to enforce some of his dominance by firing a couple of employees and workforce just to kind of show him he's not messing around and you can't do this, with me in charge. And although this may be considered kind of brash behaviour, I think a lot of what he did at the beginning helped the company stay afloat in times that maybe they would have fallen down a fair bit more. He also started introducing a type of management where everything they produced had to go through him. So he would...
Called micromanaging.
Well, not even so much... he wouldn't do the work and he wouldn't oversee the work. But before they would be sold, before they'd stamp this Nintendo, he would have to approve it. And I believe that even Nintendo still holds some sort of thing to this day where it has to kind of go through the board of people, and if somebody disagrees or doesn't like that product and vetoes it, it won't go out, or they won't go forward with those sort of business acumen because they're like, okay, we all have to agree. I think that's right, but I don't have any. I only have one source for that, and it was something I heard. So who knows? So he's taken over in 1949 following the death of his grandfather. He started making some waves within the company. In 1953, he renamed the distribution company which was Hakuma before to Nintendo Playing Card Company Limited. And also in 1953, they became the first company in Japan to use plastic in the playing cards instead of paper or wood or bark, which previously been made out of. However, these changes were not enough for
Hiroshi.
They were not enough for him, and he didn't feel like they were going to give the company enough oomph to survive. Especially this is being after the World War. Japan's following a fair bit of defeat following the war, and they're still trying to build themselves back up again. During a 1956 visit to the USA, Hiroshi visited the USPCC, which is the United States Playing Card Company, who are still out today. They're the ones that make bicycle cards, the playing cards you'll see, and a lot of different other cards. They were actually recently acquired by Cartamundo, which are a European card making company.
Pretty sure there's currently a Joker from a bicycle playing card deck hidden somewhere at the gym.
Hidden? You mean on?
It's a fun game now.
Okay, is that what's going on?
Called Hide the Joker.
Okay. I did see one. I was like, I don't know if that's what you're referring to.
Yes, when you find it, you rehide it.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'll have to do that. I was not made aware of this game.
I've started it right now.
Okay.
Our friend started it earlier.
Oh, friend. Yes. Yeah, so he went and saw these playing companies, and he was kind of shocked to see the USPCC, basically their Western Hemisphere equivalent, working out of such small warehouses, small manufacturing companies, and small offices. And he was like, there's clearly there's a ceiling to playing cards. And that for a company to really grow and develop and make money, you need to expand beyond that. So he came home from USA with a little bit more thoughts in his mind about how to push this company further than its current ability. And he tried to find new markets to break into.
Okay.
One of the first things he did, which was kind of still within his sort of realm, is he acquired the rights to the characters of Disney. And he acquired the rights to characters and to put on his playing cards. Up until now, as I mentioned earlier, playing cards had really had an aura of gambling and
they're bad, and now you're making them good.
And what he did was essentially put his characters on them, produce and build other games that kids can play, and then sell these cards along with the books to the kids and families in Japan to play as fun games rather than gambling games.
Aww.
So it'd just be like, here, play this with your family instead. This was a great success, as you'd expect, of kids getting cards, selling roughly 600,000 card packs in a single year. So clearly showing the company that broadening the horizons was a good thing if done correctly. And this continued success saw Nintendo become a public company in 1962.
Cool.
So he's been in charge for just over 10 years by now, working with playing card companies and finally sort of trying to develop some new stuff. In 1963, the card company became just Nintendo. They removed the playing card company because they wanted to, again, broaden their horizons. Exactly. Don't want to be solidified. These changes and these broadenings weren't always successful. They actually did spend some time making some bad things. So, well, not bad things, just unsuccessful things. They attempted their hand at a taxi company. They attempted to make a vacuum cleaner, which didn't work or wasn't successful. Some instant rice, so food. And kind of most curious of them all is something they deemed the Love Hotel.
A Love Hotel.
Which was essentially a hotel with no windows where people could go for fun times. They didn't say whether it was... I can't tell if it was like just you and your wife going away for some fun time.
No, I don't think so.
If it was
I think it was...
I can't quite tell. It suggests it's brothel or like cheating on your wife or mistress or something, but...
With how
it's worded.
Weird the sexual culture is there, it doesn't surprise me.
Well, you definitely have more knowledge of that than I do. Yeah. So, in 1963, they've had some success diversifying, but not really yet. In 1965, this was when the Tokyo Olympics happened. So there was a big influx of money into Tokyo. However, it really showed that the playing card company in Japan had come to saturation. It reached its peak. And many of the card companies went bankrupt. Nintendo's stock fell from 900 yen down to 50 yen, which is, I'm not sure what the conversion rate is, but regardless, it's a big drop of your stock figures. And this was one of the first times Nintendo kind of got to the point of, man, we could be bankrupt. We could lose everything. As we know, this doesn't happen, but hey.
They had their oh shit moment.
Pardon?
They had their oh shit moment.
So shit moment, exactly. So they were starting to look, okay, where can we find success but not overreach? And they essentially looked at, toys and games. We already have the distributors who go to these toy shops and companies so we can sell to them. We have good relationships with them. We just need to expand.
Kids like us, we have Disney.
Yeah. So they thought toys, that's what we have to do. During the initial toy experiment, they didn't have much success. A lot of the big companies like Bandai and Toei controlled a large part of the market. And due to the sort of high turnover required for toys, because kids get bored, it was difficult to keep producing new toys when they had no heritage in it other than playing cards. Thankfully, they managed to finally grasp some success following the ideas of one maintenance man called Gunpei Yokoi. I think it's Yokoi.
Yeah.
He was just a mild-mannered maintenance man working on the assembly line. And one day, Yamauchi was visiting one of the factories. He was just walking through and observing things, and he came across Yokoi using a contraption he made to kind of just muck about. And it was essentially, one of those long grips. It was like an accordion-type grip. So it had that sort of jagged, and you squeeze it, it goes forward, and it grabs something. And you're just using it, playing it for himself. Yamauchi loved the idea of it, thought it was great, told him to create a toy version of it, and they sold it, and it made millions within its first year. It sold millions, versions of it in the first year. So something as simple as that. You forget, like, in the 1960s, life was a simpler time. So Nintendo, again, survived a big potential loss through a grabby arm, essentially. Which is kind of funny.
Because the maintenance man used the Ultra Hand to play with himself.
Yes, exactly. It's weird. That's what they do in Japan, I guess. So after they sold 1 million units and was pretty successful for Nintendo, Yokoi was then taken from the assembly line and moved to product development.
Okay.
So.
Man, he got a raise.
Yeah, he got a raise. Nintendo were happy. They were back in the kind of winning ways. Another stroke of luck, Yokoi happened to be an electrical engineer. So he then showed great ability in developing electronic toys.
All right.
So, things such as a love tester, which is like one of those things you hold and it tells you how much love you and your partner are.
Okay.
Yes, rubbish, but he developed that.
No, they are very authentic, genuine.
Real.
Real? Yeah, they were.
Accurate.
Yeah, that's the
10 billion barrel puzzle. I don't know if you were ahead of that. And he was also a big influence in them developing the Nintendo Beam gun, which was basically an early version of the Zap gun from the NES. Are you familiar with that? Okay. So in the 1970s, them and Sharp, another electronic company, Sharp. You familiar with them?
No.
Okay.
Are this at the TV company?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so along with them, they developed this beam gun. And in 1972, they started to make them available.
Okay.
So they were essentially using they started developing these guns, and along with 1972, along with a company called Mabavoy. Basically, Mabavoy had created a games console called Odyssey.
Okay.
And Nintendo worked alongside of them to produce this light gun as part of that bundle.
Okay.
With Nintendo seeing the success or the potential for this light gun, they actually moved into their own, or they took their first steps towards producing their own sort of arcade-style games, and they essentially converted some old bowling alleys in Japan into shooting ranges, where they'd have these electronic guns. It wouldn't be on a TV, it'd be on like a screen on the wall, and the light would pass over it, and they'd react with they basically put a clay pigeon up on the wall, and it would react with the light gun, and it would shoot.
Okay.
So you'd get this sort of interaction there, and that's what they had, and that was their first fast arcade games as such. Yeah, it was quite cool.
Yeah.
These only sold in Japan, so it was nowhere else. Following their sort of partnership with this Odyssey console, they end up acquiring the rights to sell this in Japan, and so they again saw the potential in the sizable market that a computer games console can provide. Okay, this is still early on though. This is still 1970s. So it hasn't, like, you know, the arcade boom in like the States hasn't really happened yet. It happened in the late 70s.
This is Japan.
So this is Japan, and this is early on kind of consoles. Like at this stage, Pong wasn't really even a thing, you know. So it's still early days.
Well, heads up, they still have a huge.
Well, this wasn't the first arcade I don't believe. I think
scene.
they still had like the what's the one with the balls?
Plinko?
Yeah, they still have Plinko before this.
I have no idea how to play. I went in and spent not much money because I wasn't going to do it.
Yeah.
No idea.
I watched a documentary about Plinko, like a short one on YouTube, 20 minutes, and I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
So weird. But yeah.
Weirdest thing ever.
Yeah. But millions made.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Nintendo have seen a little bit of success, and they're okay, we've got a bit of electronics going, we can work in this stuff. After working with Odyssey, they thought, okay, let's work for another company, a more local one, see if we can work actually building some version of a console. Mm-hmm. So they work along with Mitsubishi Electric, and they helped develop a console called Color TV Game Machine. Yeah, catchy name.
Yeah.
And that came in 16, or Color TV Game Machine 6 or 15. That was referencing the number of games that was
available.
Because that machine, they'd all be hardwired in. They wouldn't be...
Yeah.
You couldn't choose the games. It was like an arcade.
It's like your old phone where you could just have Snake and that was it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And they built these. So they saw a little bit of success to this. They learnt a lot of technology skills, like how to actually create games and all these sort of things. So then Nintendo started to use this technology to develop their own games.
Okay.
In particular, arcade games, so like the upright boxes to play.
With Pac-Man.
Yes, yeah, exactly like Pac-Man, actually, just not Pac-Man. Yes.
Are you sure?
100% they didn't make Pac-Man. Namco made Pac-Man.
How do they relate to Nintendo?
Or was it Bandai? Was it Bandai
It's
Namco?
Namco. But how do they relate to Nintendo?
They don't.
Well, and why is that on my interesting facts about Nintendo?
I don't think they do. Maybe someone split off.
Okay. We'll get to it later.
But I don't think they do. So Nintendo started creating their own ones, and they had pretty good success in Japan, showing promise with games such as Radar Scope, one called like something Othello. I can't quite remember, something to do with Othello. Okay. Let's see if I have the name of the other ones that they had.
Light Tennis.
I don't know. Was that one? That's not the ones I had, but you're probably not wrong.
I'm not.
You're not wrong, or you're probably not wrong.
I mean, that was one of the 6 featured games of the Color TV game system.
Oh no, that's not what I'm talking about. So after the Color
Kong.
TV, I'm talking about how Donkey Kong wasn't. Well, I was going to get onto that. EVR Racing and Radar Scope were one of the big ones from the main consoles.
Yes.
With the success from the US, from the Japan, they wanted to expand to the US, so they created their own US or Nintendo of America was established, and they started to try to get some sort of market over there. However, with this idea, so Nintendo of America had a president who was Arakawa, who was the son-in-law of
Yamauchi.
Yeah, thank you. Who was the son-in-law of Yamauchi. He thought, okay, let's go big. So he ordered 3,000 units of this radar scope, brought them to America, took 4 months to get across. He spent the whole budget on it and tried to sell them. Unfortunately, some of the hype of the game plus some of the annoying mechanics didn't really sell over here, and they only sold 1,000 out of those 3,000 units.
Oh no.
Without selling these other units, they were really going to go bankrupt. So they had a bit of an issue of there. I was like, what do we do? Now, they didn't want to fail, but they don't want to fail, so I've lost his name. Yeah, Arakawa pleaded with Hiroshi to get him a new game, because what they could do is use the hardware and convert it to some other game. So, Hiroshi Yamauchi. Yamauchi. He decided to then go and speak to his boys, the people who makes these consoles, and figure out, okay, which one of you guys can sort this out for me? Who can create this and create a new game? Now, this is where one of the biggest names in computer games, and Nintendo especially, comes in. Because he went to his trusted advisor.
Gunpei Yokoi?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he went to his man, Gunpei Yokoi. Oh my
Gunpei
God.
Yokoi.
Thank you.
Yokai.
Gunpei
Yokoi.
Yokoi. Yeah.
Like the
Yeah,
fish.
Yokoi. And went to him to try and help him figure something out. He was using a young graphic artist called
Shigeru
Miyamoto. To come up with something. Now, thankfully, Miyamoto had been currently working on a game for the character Popeye. He had been putting together a game where it was Popeye, you had Bluto, and Olive, and he was trying to work a game around them. He was asked to develop this under the understanding they'd be able to acquire the rights to Popeye. However, unfortunately, they were not. So, thankfully, Miyamoto was able to use this game, convert it into what is now known as
Donkey Kong.
Exactly.
Did you know that was the first jumping game?
I did not know that's the first jumping game.
Yeah, he's the first one that jumped.
I guess that's why Mario was called Jumpman and that. Well, actually, apparently it was called the Video Game Man or something by Miyamoto, but then he was referenced as the Jumpman later on.
Jumpman,
so that makes sense.
Jumpman.
So Jumpman essentially was Popeye, Bluto became Donkey Kong, and Olive became... Do you know what the lady was called?
Paulina,
yeah. Oh, Pauline. I think it was Paulina. But so Pauline was named after
right.
the American Nintendo of North America, the warehouse that held all these unused units. The wife of him was called Pauline, so that's where we got the name.
Yes.
And I believe he was called Mario or something. Mario, yeah, the owner of the warehouse was called Mario, and the distributor's wife was called Paulina. So that's where those names come from. And then Donkey Kong hit the shelves. And it was a major success. Like, massive. Go.
So, Jumpman was the person who jumped in Donkey Kong.
Yeah, Jumpman. That's
Not
it.
Donkey Kong, but Donkey Kong's where he debuted.
Jumpman was the man who jumped in Donkey Kong, but Jumpman, but not Donkey... What?
Donkey Kong wasn't the one that jumped.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
Jumpman
it was
jumped.
Mario.
Yeah.
But Mario was known as Jumpman.
Yes. But that's where jumping debuted in Donkey Kong.
Yes, by...
Yes. By Jumpman.
Jumpman, yeah.
Jumpman.
That's why I said that's why it was called Jumpman.
Jumpman.
Yeah, so they converted them. The project spent up something like cost $100,000, and the conversion kits were put into all 2,000 radarscope units, and they sold, and it became a huge success. A couple of interesting facts about that. The character Jumpman itself wasn't named Mario until later on, but you know the reason he's got a big nose, is because... Go ahead.
I was going to... No, never mind.
You're going to say because he's Italian, because that's awful. That's awful.
No.
So, oh god. This was done on an 8-bit system, so they had very few pixels to work with. So to show features, they had to hide and emphasize some. So his nationality was not emphasized, but his nose was. Any assumptions upon that were then made by whichever Western people put upon him. But no, he had a big nose. He had a mustache because it was easier to see than a mouth. And he put a hat because it's really hard to detail out hair. He had overalls on because it's easier to pixelize them and make them look real rather than putting anything else on. So a lot of how he looked was actually based on limitations rather than actual character design.
Okay.
Which is kind of cool. But that concept of that game was really appealing. The thought process of having a hero and a villain along with someone to save was somewhat appealing to the world, and the kind of sequential levels of difficulty, but different viewing at the same time. It wasn't just an increased amount of aliens coming at you like in Space Invaders.
That was scrolling.
Yes. So that made it a lot more exciting.
Did you know
Go ahead.
that bushes and clouds are basically the same thing in Super Mario?
and once it gets to Super Mario Brothers, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of the pixels.
Yeah, and it's easy to just copy and paste, which is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
So while they've started to get a success with Donkey Kong, they also started to bring out some other handheld electronic devices called Game & Watch. Have you ever seen a Game & Watch?
No.
I saw one or two when I was a kid. They kind of look like this.
Okay.
And for those who have never seen them before, they're essentially really early on DSs. You know, they were just sort of all like half a DS was what they originally were, and then they even had some that had 2 screens. So
I like a Game Boy.
Pardon?
I like a Game Boy.
Yeah, well, the Game Boy is obviously the development from these.
Oh.
That's all right, but it's also the DS. It's fine. It was just the sort of side, because they were like a landscape kind of position. These were just LED games though, so it was just something that had, similar to a calculator, it had a panel of lights that could go on and off, and that'd be how it would activate.
Okay.
And you know how they go on was controlled by you, but it wasn't as if it was a screen that could produce anything with a set amount of pixels. It was set like components.
Boxes.
Yes, essentially.
Snake again.
It's Snake, but even more basic than Snake. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And the Yokoi, he was a big factor into these Game & Watch, and they sold a lot. They weren't hugely massive, but they definitely sold up to like almost 45 million units sold worldwide. And it's one of the Nintendo's first project to gain like worldwide success. You know, out with being an arcade game that you buy it, you know, you pay quite off to play. And it was the first one I could buy in houses. And one of my cousins had one. I remember that much. And I thought it was crap because by that time I had Nintendo, and I was like, "What's this? What's this? Nintendo? Let's play it." Oh, it's crap. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to stop here. And I know that seems weird because we've hardly discussed anything, but I want you to picture this. We've basically gone from a company that created playing cards and has somehow developed this into a company who are now developing handheld console or handheld games, electronic games that are selling 50 million copies almost worldwide, and are now producing these big boxes that go into arcades that kids are spending fortunes on.
All because of Donkey Kong.
All within less than 100 years. They've introduced someone who wasn't high in the company, in Miyamoto, to start designing someone who's 2 characters that we've seen so far, Donkey Kong and Mario, Jumpman is currently known, Jumpman. Someone that will become Peach, and also someone who's not afraid to look at every member of their staff, regardless of kind of where you are, to help develop something, you know, to make the company worthwhile. Some of these things stick with the company, some of the principles of looking within what they currently have and, you know, developing things, changing what they currently have, like we did with the cards, to kind of broaden the market. So like the Disney stuff, that was the same but different type thing. But the next stage of Nintendo goes a bit crazy. You know, this is where they go from being the king of the worlds to the bottom and back and forth. So this is taking us from 1889 up to essentially 1980, just before the 1980s. The next one, which we're going to do next week, guys, sorry about this, I should have told you beforehand, is going to be from 1980s up to pretty much present day, and the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of Nintendo, and potentially into the future. Let's see where they go. Now, I know it's not been the most exciting stuff. The most exciting stuff is to come, but let's say that it's a bit of sizzle, guys. You have to listen to next week to find out about the rest of it.
This is exciting so far. I mean, we got to Donkey Kong.
Yeah. You've played Donkey Kong? Yes. Much? No. I played Donkey Kong. I played Donkey Kong 2, or Donkey Kong Jr., which we're talking about next week, more. But I love Donkey Kong. It was a great game.
Yeah. I only played it I don't remember.
I don't think I ever got past the 3rd level, but
I don't really remember it.
Yeah.
He's at the top, yeah?
No, Donkey Kong's at the top, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And you're trying to make it there? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's lots of other facts about Donkey Kong we could get into, but it's not a Donkey Kong episode.
No.
But it's cool. All right, we'll pause it there, and we'll come back next week to fill out the stuff for us. How's that sound?
Yeah, sounds good.
You got any facts for us that cover this time period?
Well, now that you've told me
tell me this Namco thing, because I'm curious. What's your Namco fact?
So pizza inspired Pac-Man.
Uh-huh.
And it says the Namco, it does say Namco, but this is on an article that says fun facts about your favorite Nintendo NES games.
Okay.
So, and it just describes, so basically the guy who created it wanted to be a missing pizza with a pizza with a missing slice, and that's what's eating these dots while being chased by ghosts. And I mean that's what he's supposed to be. But then they named him Pac-Man for the Japanese Paku Paku, which is like chomp in English. And then they wanted, like when they brought it to the U.S., they wanted to morph it to Puckman, but then in the U.S. they were worried that would be vandalized and it would change the P to a F, and so then they like talked about it and they settled on Pac-Man. But yes, started from pizza, went to Pac-Man.
That's interesting, especially because you wouldn't see much pizza in Japan.
No,
So that's even more interesting.
not good pizza.
Yeah. Huh, I didn't know that about Pac-Man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Paco Paco.
I played a lot of freaking Pac-Man as well.
Paco. Yeah, me too. This is all this is 80s and up.
Yeah. The 80s is when Nintendo becomes what it is today.
Yeah.
Up until now, this has been like the build of Nintendo. You know, it's like setting the foundations for what is to come.
Yeah. So next week, the facts will come.
Yeah. So next week, we got what we have to look forward to, the various consoles, the downfall of the consoles. Then we have the introduction of the Nintendo consoles. We have the console wars of the early 90s and mid 90s. And then we have the sort of the couple of missteps Nintendo did make, which lost millions. And we had this unbelievable success of one of their consoles, and then sort of near bankruptcy yet again following that. So there's lots of ups and downs through it. It's very exciting for them. Interesting for us.
Yeah.
Because it's happened. It can't be exciting anymore. All right. Leave it to next week. Tell me about your shits and hits.
Well, there's one. It's called the 100. Okay. So it's...
Okay. Sorry, go.
Never mind. I'm not telling you about the 100.
Tell me about the 100, okay?
Okay. So it starts out, they're on a spaceship, and Earth it's been 97 years since a nuclear warhead.
Not 100.
97.
Should be 100, surely.
Well, hold on. I'll explain the 100. 97 years since nuclear explosions, the Earth is uninhabitable. This very large group went to space. Different countries had their own little things. They all ended up a lot of them ended up failing. And then the ones that remained created the Ark, which has different sectors from each country. They've all come together now. In order to survive this long, they've been pretty stringent on their rules. So any offense is a capital offense, punishable by death, if you're over the age of 18. So if you steal something or if you kill somebody, you're going to get floated, which means they put you in the chamber, open the door, and you get sucked out. If you're under the age of 18, you get held in a jail cell until your 18th birthday, when you go on trial to see if you can get put back into society or get floated.
That seems weird. Because it seems like how can you get back into society if you've been jailed for, it could be 10 years.
Yeah, it could.
Anyway.
I don't know. Weird. So.
And a kid stealing shouldn't get, anyway. Carry on.
I don't know how much to tell you.
I just tell me, I'm not going to watch it.
Huh?
I'm not going to watch it.
Okay.
Maybe they'll listen to us, but I'm not.
Okay. So,
And I don't mean because it doesn't sound like it'd be good, just I'm not going to have time
5 seasons, and why am I watching this now?
Yes,
and I'm obsessed with it? Yes, I know. I just want it to be over with and done so I can just have this out of my life. It's becoming a problem. So, basically there's the council, there's a chancellor, and then there's the council. This kind of fast forwards into a bunch of different episodes. Basically what happened was one of the council members' husbands, which they were him, the chancellor, their family, the chancellor's family, and this other family were all really good friends until this happens. So he finds out that the oxygen supply is going to run out in 6 months. And if they don't find something to fix this or go back down to Earth, then they're all going to die. And so he wants to go public with it. To prevent him from going public with it, his wife tells the chancellor, who they thought was their best friend, but the chancellor, instead of doing something, talking to him, had him floated. So she basically got her husband killed.
Oh wow.
And
she
also
didn't. She killed him. He killed him. She just was trying to.
Yes, and that's not how so they had a daughter who was in her she's under 18 but older.
Sure.
Who was an accomplice, basically. She knew about it, was okay, then I'm gonna tell. They locked her up. So the whole thing starts with, they pull all of these, there's 100 delinquents. They pull them all out of the jail cells, put them all on a ship, send them down to Earth. So they're gonna be the ones who's now determine if Earth is if they can survive. They put tracker bracelets on them.
Sure.
If they survive, then they know that Earth is inhabitable, radiation down to lower levels. They are habitable, and that they can bring the Ark back down to Earth. So the whole first season is like they get to Earth, they find out that like
It's fine.
Well, it's fine. Them being in space has kind of protected them from the radiation. There's 3 different groups. There's the grounders who have like evolved to like withstand the radiation that's still there. There's the reapers who are basically have turned cannibals, and there's the mountain men who are basically, when all these people left on the Ark, they had their own little bunker, and they've survived for 97 years in this bunker, but they can't go outside, and small amounts of radiation leak in. So the way that they survive is by transfusing the blood of the grounders. But they need to catch the grounders, and they can't go outside, so they've created these reapers who are now cannibals, and like they're basically like old grounders who they have drugged, like got addicted to drugs, who bring in grounders in exchange for this drug, but then like the drug makes them crazy and they are cannibals. So
why are they bringing people in if they could just want to eat them anyway?
They bring them in. The mountain men drain the blood to transfuse and then send them out, and then the cannibals eat them, like eat the flesh.
But why don't they just eat them before they?
Because they want the drug.
Why do they want the drug?
Because they're addicted to it. They want the drug more than they want to eat.
Okay.
And yeah, so it's just this whole first season is them trying to like survive. Meanwhile, the Ark is on less oxygen than they ever knew. So they end up having 300 people sacrifice themselves to save more, to take away some of the oxygen loss. But that only buys them like a couple of weeks. And then they end up having to like just hope that Earth is okay and go to Earth. Because all the kids have like either lost or taken off their tracker bracelets. So they think all the kids are dead. And then, yeah, so all that happens. They get to Earth. So now like the Ark people are on Earth too. So now it's just like a bunch of conflicting societies, and it's like kind of reminds me of like what Game of Thrones kind of is, I guess. And then like, what was it? Firefly, because there's like all the space part of it, kind of The Walking Dead. So it's like all these shows mashed into one, and it's led by a group of teenagers, and I can't stop watching it.
I mean, I get why that sounds good. It does sound quite interesting.
Do you think that would happen after 100 years?
What do you mean?
That sort of establishment's created.
Yeah. I mean, so the grounders are very tribal. Like,
but I mean, why have they become tribal? It's only been 100 years. That's 2 generations.
I mean,
If that,
they were
that's
forced
1.5
to
generations.
like, I don't know. That's just how it works. Like, so the mountain men are like, it's still just very much like this group hates this group and this group's attacking this group, and instead of working together, they just have their own societies, and the grounders became tribal because that's how they survived. Like,
but I mean, you got to see as like you say survived what? You've only got 1 generation to survive. It's hard to infuse survival into 1 generation, you know?
Yeah.
I want to say this because it's like if my parents were born 60 years ago, so say they were in their 20s,
Yeah.
it would only be 30 years from now.
Yeah.
Probably. No, okay, maybe another 50 years from now. But even so,
Yeah.
it's not that long.
I still don't understand how
Potentially.
the grounders like if they were there and they just survived the explosion. I don't understand how they progressed to where they were. The mountain men I understand, the Ark I understand, the grounders I don't. They haven't really like delved into that yet.
Yeah.
But then in this new season, AI has started to be introduced to where this artificial intelligence is the thing that started this nuclear war and blew up everything because she predicted overpopulation. And
Do you think it's actually been 100 years? I think it's been more.
I have no idea. It's like completely messed with my mind now. I don't know which one's the simulation, which one's not.
It's a simulation.
Yeah. It's like if you swallow a chip. So this one guy, like, he keeps hearing about the City of Light. So he, like, him and another couple of other people, like, go on this trek to, like, the Mecca of City of Light. And they get to this this place, and basically what it is you swallow a chip. If you swallow the chip, then you get the City of Lights, which is just like a simulation.
But your body's just useless.
Yeah, well, you go in and out of it, so it controls you.
Okay.
So it's controlling him to go, like, he's going back to the Ark now to, like, try to convert more people and, like, bring them over. But he's not doing that. She's doing that through him. And then takes his mind to the City of Lights to where, like, he gets that, like, bliss or whatever.
Uh-huh.
It's crazy.
Weird.
Yeah.
Is this still going on? Is it finished?
I think it's 5 seasons. I think it's still going on.
Huh.
Yeah. But kind of like
Is it exciting, or is it kind of some episodes you're like, ugh, what was that
No,
for?
it's exciting. And kind of like Game of Thrones, like, they will kill anybody.
That's kind of
Same
cool.
like Walking Dead. Like,
How many of the 100 are still left?
me and Drake were trying to figure this out. At least 48.
Okay.
So, but we think of a couple more. Probably, I would say less than 60.
Huh.
Like, they kill people off quick.
Well, 5 seasons.
I'm on season 3, though.
Oh.
And they've already killed off. Season 2 is when, like, half of them were dead.
Yeah. That makes sense. You can't hold 50 characters,
No.
100 characters.
No. And it is that situation where, like, the main, like, 3 should die. Well, they have cut off one of the big main ones. But, like, there's a couple that you're like, you should be dead by now.
Yeah.
But it's the show. So it's any show like that. There's, like, the main one that you're not going to kill.
That's fair. I mean, I don't mind that.
But,
okay. So it's worth a watch if you've got nothing else to do and you want to watch something.
If you're homesick one day and you want to turn something on and get sucked in for a whole entire season in one day, something I suggest.
Netflix?
Yeah.
Cool. So that's the recommendations this week, guys. I don't have anything. I listened to the new Bastille album. I quite like it, but it's a bit meh. There's nothing really too, like, dead exciting to listen to. It's just Bastille. But that's all I've listened to.
All right.
That's it, really.
Okay.
And I still want to go see Aladdin, so I haven't seen that.
I thought we were watching it once it comes out.
It's already out.
Like in not theaters.
Oh, okay. I guess so. Did I already say that?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't mind when I watch it. What's out this weekend I wanted to watch?
We watched the new Netflix movie too.
Oh, yeah. We'll watch that. And, okay, that's it. I can't be out. I'm tired.
Okay.
All right. More about Nintendo next week, so stick us with that. If you have any information we've missed out or you'd like to talk about or anything you'd like us to mention next week within our topic, by all means, we can look into that. That's about it.
Yep.
I've been Liam.
I'm Kayla.
And this has been Mumblecast.
Bye.
Bye.
It is a great show.